welcome to the Stitcher Girl podcast. I'm Julia, and I'm coming to you from Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you had a great holiday season with your family. And I'm happy to be here with you today to review what's been going on in my world. I have some whips, I have some Christmas haul and other haul, and I'm sure there will be some feline antics at some point because it just isn't a podcast without those two. And yeah, so I'm excited to be here. I will put somewheres here or down below how you can get in contact with me. But thanks so much to all of you who have reached out to me, either on Instagram or down below on YouTube. Thank you so much. It's really great to hear from you. And I have people now in Australia sending me messages and, you know, all around the world. I have to somehow get into that African market, but we'll see. With time, I'm sure I will have made some stitchy friends all around the world. So this is very exciting, and it's so cool to be watching all these Flosstube and podcasts out there, seeing what people are making all around the world. And it's so interesting to see what we have. We have so much in common, and yet we seem to have so many like different things too. So it's great to see everybody's interests. I tend to like the podcasts that show other things, just not cross stitch, and because I'm kind of doing a bit of everything myself. I do have plans for this year. If you saw my video that I did just before New Year's Eve, I talked about 20 and 20, and there were certain 20 projects that I wanted to tackle in 2020, and some of them are just not cross stitch. I've got some knitting, rug hooking, spinning, quilting. Yeah, so all the things. I just want to make all the things. So yeah, so welcome back, everybody. Welcome to all my new viewers. Oh, there's Wellington. Wellington's made an appearance. So a new segment I started back in December was Blast from the Past, because I have been doing, no, that's not a good spot to go. I have been making things for, wow, for a long time. And so this is a project that I made probably in the early 2000s when I was a member of the Lakeshore Creative Stitchery Guild in Montreal. And when I was a member of that guild, we were automatically a member of the Embroidery Association of Canada. And the Embroidery Association of Canada has these correspondence courses. And one of them was called the Basic Metal Thread Embroidery course. And so here it is. This is what I know, Wellington, this is bad timing. Now this is metal thread embroidery. This is acorns and oak leaves. And I don't know if you can see because it's a bit shiny. The acorns are slightly raised. They're slightly padded underneath. And the tops of the acorn were done with a type of metal thread called, I believe, pearl check. And I had some that were copper colored. So that kind of gave some nice depth as well as texture to the piece. So that was a lot of fun. Mom did the same course as I did. Her acorns, though, I believe were, she did silver on blue, silver threads on a blue background. Now this fabric up close, you might think it's a counted, like a really tightly woven linen. It's too tightly woven though to be used as a counted work surface, you know, for cross stitch. But But I have this hanging on my wall. I don't have this framed. Some people, yeah, that color is true right there. Some people like to frame everything, and there always is the, you know, the concern with metal threads that they will tarnish at some point. But, you know, that's okay, because then it'll look prim, right? So that was that. So, finished object. Oh dear, I didn't bring that. This is from, and just when I thought I was so organized. This is Home Sweet Haunted Home. And I need something here. Home Sweet Haunted Home. This was in the most recent Halloween issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. I cannot remember the maker at the moment. My apologies. But if you have that recent edition, I'm sure you will find it. I got rid of the house. There was a house here next to the E. And I had these spider, I don't know if sequins is the right word, but they're big. And it's about the same size as that E. And I'm just going to have it hanging off here. I'll insert a picture of that. And I just haven't been able to locate my beading needles. So when I do, I have some beading I have to get done. So hopefully that'll happen soon. So that is a finished object. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Now, woo, the excitement. There's so much going on here. So today I'm going to have some knitting whips as well as cross stitch whips, some stitching whips. And I'm going to start with my New Year start, January the 1st. Very exciting time, January the 1st. And I think in December, I definitely talked about, this is a chart that I've had like forever. It is by Just Nan, Peacock Cypher. And I bought this maybe 2005, 2006 at Gita's, which is a needlework shop not far from Toronto. And I fell in love with it. There are these beads that come with it as well. I don't know if you can see these. Let me see. And then there's a peacock charm as well that goes. So exciting. Anyways, I'm at my local needlework shop, and at the front near the cash, they have like a remnant basket. So these are remnant pieces of fabric that they've cut up to kind of square up the fabric, because there they have everything, it's custom cuts. So they have a lot of scrap bits that you can go in and buy, and they had some Picture This Plus. Like right away, I'm like, that is Picture This Plus. I did ask, just, you know, to be 100% sure. And the Shelly was like, yes, that is definitely Picture This Plus. Now, I don't know what color this is. To me, I'm calling it a smoky teal color. Yeah, that's pretty good. Anyways, it was quite a find. So I got this remnant piece that measured 20.5 by 9, and it was perfect for the peacock. So this is what I've done so far. And I'm doing it 1 thread over 2. So I'm just loving this. And the bottom, the furthest that I've gotten so far, that is the end of page 1. Yeah, page 1 of this design. And the thread that I'm using is, I thought it was colorist, but it's Variations, the DMC. And it's these lovely teal colors, and it's number 4025. And now there is, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, some 1/1 the letters, the cipher part, right in here. All these letters, they're 1/1, and I didn't realize that first. So I had a slight heart attack, but then I got better fast. And what I'm going to use is this DMC number 3880, because it's kind of like the darkest color in that variegated DMC that I just showed you, and I thought that would be good for the letters. It would help them stand out. So that's my New Year's start. I think that's a high T start too. Carolyn off the grid. Everybody knows Carolyn. I don't know if she knows me, but everybody knows her. And I believe she has these high T starts, and she started them on the 1st. She started a new one on the 1st of January. If it's not a high T start, then it's definitely a New Year start, and I'm fine with that. There's so many sales, and it gets a bit much after a while, but you know, they're fun. Even if you don't participate, it's fun to see what everybody's doing. And but then that, you know, ends up giving you like FOMO, and then you get all this like angst about how you don't have that pattern and that you need it and you need to stitch it now. And so that kind of creates problems sometimes. Maybe not for you. Maybe you're stronger. But temptation, yeah, I have problems with that. They're some of the things, like I've been watching Brenda and the Serial Starter. I've gone back and watched Carol, the Saltbox Stitcher, right from the beginning. And I just watched all, and I'm like, oh my God. I seriously, like, it's very exciting watching them. And when you get finished watching them, you want to stitch all the things. You want to buy all the things. You want to have all the things so you can start all the things. And yeah, it's pretty like, yeah, it's good fun though. It's really good. I mean, I rarely watch TV anymore. I watch podcasts and Flosstube on YouTube all the time, and that's my entertainment. Some people like The Bachelor. I like Brenda and the Serial Starter. Go figure. Go figure. So another project that I've been working on is my Mary Clayton Hands Across the Sea. Did I bring the chart? Yes, I did. I think a lot of people are familiar with this one, and I started this back at the end of October. I'm doing it on a 32 count R&R fabric, which I think is discontinued. It's called Celebration, and I did a conversion to Gentle Arts threads, my own conversion, and I'm very happy with it, and so is Wellington. He's very, very, very excited. Yes, I know, baby. Kisses. Sweetie. Okay, so let's have a look at Mary Clayton. Mary Clayton. Now, I gotta figure out how to show this. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get bigger projects. So I got the border done. I went all the way around and it lined up just perfectly. And I've been focusing on the house, getting all that, I don't know what you call that, gray, the brickwork, flagstone, I don't know what it's called. But I've been trying to get that finished so then I can just go back in and stitch with the yellow and then the brown in the windows when I need something mindless, or when I need something to do when I'm talking, because when I'm talking, I just forget it. It can't be anything too difficult. And yes, you might all be thinking, Julia, what is that down there on the lawn? Julia, is that a dog? Julia was bold. Julia was brazen. Julia put a cat. And Julia did it 1/1. Julia is crazy. Anyways, I figured my piece, I could switch it up a bit. So I'm not a, I mean, I like dogs. I think I've said this before. I'm not adverse to dogs. I've just not really, you know, had dogs as a pet. There's always been cats around, so it made more sense that there was a little kitty cat there. And that reflection on the wall is just intense. So I'm really happy with that. This is done on 32 count. I am doing 2 threads over 2. And what's been fun with using the over dyed threads is that the red that I'm using, I think I've mentioned it before, the particular dye lot of that thread is, part of it is really dark and part of it is really light. So instead of using 2 colors of red like it calls for, I've been able to get away with that with just the one skein. And it's called Geranium from Gentle Arts. Let's see if I can do anything. No, I can't. Okay, so I'm back. I closed the blinds. I think that helps a bit. So I was talking about Mary Clayton, and oh, I've got this new way now of putting my threads. This is a shower hook that I got at the dollar store. And so now I can do this like all the other peeps do. Look at my sexy threads. So this is for, I know I'm silly. This is, nobody can do it like Nicole's needlework. That is for sure. Anyways, those are my threads for my Mary Clayton. And yeah, that's a good way. So they look good. So happy with that. Got to keep pressing on. Got to get that done. So next on the whip parade is, this was my winter sal start. This was, I had want to pass the stash from JennyMcStitcher, Yule Queen. And I started stitching on this, so December 21st. And I've been quite happy with it until I realized I was I must have been drunk at one point because I had to rip stuff out. I had, something was wrong down here. So I've gone back, frogged, and restarted. But she's just looking fabulous. And Barn Gray was the called for, the gassed. The light gray that you see there, that was supposed to be a gassed, the Barn Gray. But I didn't think it was going to look well on this fabric that I'm using. This fabric is a Fibre. It's a raw linen. And in my stash that came from, this is like a bottomless, that came from Traditional Stitches in Calgary. It's called Green Pasture. So that's what I'm using. There's a slight gray-green in parts of this variegated. So it looks really nice with the gray. And there's a bit of a, there is a shimmer to this fabric. And it has like a little tealy green shimmer. So that really, I find with that thread color, it just all, woo! Very exciting. I like it. What else? Okay, so I have a Mirabilia to show you. Now, the Tazi Stitchers, I don't know if you've seen their podcast yet, but these are 2 girls. in Tasmania. As you probably all know, Tasmania is the island south of Australia. And these women do all the salves. I mean, seriously, like, they do them all. And they were talking about the semi-sane stitchers. And they have a Facebook group, and they have all these salves. So I went and checked them out. And they had one called Pick It and Stick to It. So I picked my Mirabilia, and I've been trying to stick with it. My pledge was to work 4 hours a week on it every week in January. I'm not counting stitches. This one you didn't have to, but you know, the idea is you post pictures every so often, and you should be able to see a difference. So I will post a picture to show you what it looked like January the 1st. This is the design at the Met. I sometimes call her Mary Crawley. She's a pain in my butt. And this is where I am. So I was having problems with the black in this piece. So the black here and the black down here is DMC 310. They still have to be removed. That's the only 310 left. So starting from here down and all this down here and here, this is all the sulky 12 weight black that I'm using. And it's looking pretty good right here, I gotta say. I've decided to forgo a lot of the beading in this shawl sashy thing she's wearing, because I think I'm going to lose my mind doing all the beading. So I'm using this beautiful Caron silk, and I believe it's called Bermuda Reef. And so I'm using quite a bit of that. I've done my first tassel, and there is some Krynic braid in there. And I have filled in now. I had some open areas here, and I left them open because they were supposed to be beads, but I've just gone in and put the Bermuda Reef. But here and here, there's special, like, fuchsia colored beads, I think, that are going to be going there. So, you know, I've done 12 hours this month on it, and I think it is noticeable. And so that's making me happy. So I'll probably make the pledge, I'm calling it a pledge and not a promise, a pledge to do the same thing in February. Every week do 4 hours of stitching. And right here it's interesting that there's a hand right here, and I think it's widely known that people do the skin 1/1 or 2/1. I guess it would be 2/1. So 2 threads over 1 linen thread. This is not linen though. This is a Joblin or Lugana. I don't know. And that's my beautiful needle minder, the thistle that I got when I was at a Vermont, the big Vermont quilt expo that's down in Essex Junction. Yeah, that's been a few years. So, so I've been having a lot of fun with that. Now, whips. I have some more whips. Yes, so let's talk knitting. Okay, so this is my Sunburst Shawl. This is a pie shawl. I might have mentioned it before, where basically I'm knitting in a circle. I'm going around and around and around. And at one point back in November, I thought, oh boy, I made a mistake and I was going to have to do some ripping out. And then a couple of weeks ago, I said, I got to get back to that shawl because I got another shawl I want to do. And I should maybe finish this one before I do another one. Anyways, I realized, no, I hadn't made any mistakes. It's just part of the whole I work night shift syndrome. You know, you get confused easy sometimes. And so if you're not familiar with knitting, we have all these like stitch markers and what do they call them? Progress keepers and all this fancy, funky jewelry stuff. So where this one is hanging, with the pink little bead here, so from here up to here, that's how much I've done. It's really not that difficult stitching. It's just, I guess sometimes it gets a little boring. There'll be like 4 rows of knit stitch, and then there'll be like a row of like, you know, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, you know, so there's really no excuse. I started this shawl on the plane when I came back from Vancouver in early October from Knit City. And this is just an Opal Sock yarn. This is not fancy yarn. Remember, I took a course out west learning how to knit different shawl shapes. And one of them was a pie shawl. And the teacher was Andrea Rangel. And this is the thread, the opal. And it was just basically plum, mauve, black, charcoal, gray. And what's kind of cool is doing it in a circle. You get these rings of black charcoal. So, and that's my Knit City bag that I got. So I have to get back to that because I have another shawl I want to start and more later. So that's my knit whip. So, of all the things that I've showed you so far today, only one of them is on my 20 and 20. And that was the little home sweet haunted home Halloween thing that I showed you at the beginning. 19 more. So, okay, I'm just going to regroup, have a sip of tea, and be right back. Welcome back. So now I'm going to show you my Christmas haul. Some of these I might have purchased and told Santa to put under the tree. But it's all good. It's all good. So, I'm telling you. I got this magazine for Christmas. I've never bought one of these magazines before, but let me tell you, I will be buying this magazine again and again and again. I just love the quality of this publication, the photography, the production value, the whole enchilada. This is a 5-star publication, and it's worth every penny, let me tell you. Now, punch needle, I don't punch needle, and I don't foresee that coming into my life right now, but I do hook, and I'm trying to find a pattern that I could hook this year as part of my 2020, and a lot of the punch needle patterns, you can easily transfer them to rug hooking, to making a mat. A mat, you know, we call them mats, but they can be wall hangings too. And this one by Teresa Kogut, it's just stunning. It's called Sadie and Sam. It's not very big at all, but you could blow that up. It's like 9 by 5 inches, and you could blow that up and you could make a really nice mat to hang on the wall at Christmas time, or, you know, some people lay things on their tables. Some do put them on the floor. I wouldn't with cats. But it's really cute, and it's wintry. It's not Christmassy, you know, which is nice. But look, there's an Assisi embroidery. Oh God, I'm showing something copyrighted. Hang on. And there is, I have to find it because I didn't really know. There's a wonderful tutorial in here by Vera Pfeiffer on how to finish a star-shaped ornament. And it's an ornament by Teresa Kogut. And, well, we all know Vana. Vana's a rock star. Vana is a rock star. This is by Twin Peak Primitives. And I love this with the church. This beautiful Christmas scene. That's stunning. I've never stitched anything by them before. And, of course, on the front, there is a Barbara Anna. And that is a Teresa Jeannette kitten stitcher. So this was a wonderful, this is, I believe the Christmas edition, the winter edition. It's the mega issue. It's a larger edition. And there's more projects on the back here. You'll see there's a cross stitch. These are punch needles. But this punch needle, definitely, I could see that as a hooked mat. So that was part of the Christmas stash. Now we're going to do a little compare and contrast. Just Cross Stitch Magazine. This publication has been out for a long, long time. I don't find it's definitely mass produced, therefore the paper quality I would guess is different. Even I find the photography, the Christmas ornament edition that I bought this year, I wasn't that impressed with it. I didn't think a lot of the ornaments were finished very well. And, you know, in 2020 with all these wonderful tutorials out there, you know, just saying. And I did a little compare and contrast with my ornament editions from the 2000s when I first bought the Just Cross Stitch Christmas ornament edition. And the ornaments in there were like spectacular. Like I want to do every one. And the finishing was impeccable. And this year's recent edition didn't, you know, I found it lacking. There are some very interesting projects in here. There are some projects that I would consider doing in this issue. This is not a publication, though, that I'm necessarily going to buy. Unless there's something in there that I really want. I'm not drawn to it the same way I am with the other magazine, the punch needle stitching magazine that I just showed you. They're different. The quality is very different in these publications. And this probably has a lot to do with, this is from a big publishing house, and that is a startup. I think a couple of women do it together, and yeah, so let me just show you. There was something in here that I really did like. And this is what's one of the features I do like about this magazine is they have like a little photo index at the back so you can see what's in the issue. And I did like page 34. It's The Happy Holiday Tree by Gail Busey. That's a name we probably all know. I did like that one. I thought that was fun. I don't really like that. You know, I think I would probably change up the colors a bit. Make it more of a pinky red. I like pinky red. And that would be a really cute Christmas. That would be a nice Christmas pillow. Wall hanging. Yeah, all good. Doesn't have to be a framed piece. So many things you could do with that. So yeah, so that was one of the things I liked in that magazine. Now, because my mother is funny, and she's my mother, she got me this classic. Julia Saves Christmas. Now this was hilarious. This is exactly like, this is my mother in a nutshell. She saw this and she got this for me and she thought it was a hoot. Now it is a hoot and it's a great story because Julia really does save Christmas. And how many times have I saved Christmas? We'll save that for another time. But growing up in Quebec, everything was Julie, 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 Julie. To the point that if somebody calls me Julie, I seriously get a little annoyed. Quite easily, actually. And so living in the Maritimes, you see things with Julia on them all the time. So that's pretty cool. So this is cute and this is special. And it's not Julie, it's Julia. Yeah. So there you go. So it's a great story. She, and of course, Julia has to make something for Santa to save Christmas. So that's kind of cool. She's a maker too. So that was fun. And another book my mom got me. It's called Unleash Your Joy. It's just a cute, like, look at this, look at this. There's like a little butterfly in here that comes out. Well, see that? Isn't that cute? And there are all these like little sayings like, dear you, permission granted to unleash your joy. Thank you. Or may you embrace your truth, leap fearlessly. Anyway, so that's a cute little book. That's the information for that book. Anyway, so that's kind of fun. She always sees these little things and gets them for me. So I got 2 charts. This one was cute. It's a Christmas one. And it kind of follows the law, you know, doing something in red. So that'll be sweet at some point. And then I absolutely adore this pattern. Like, I just love it. Peace on Earth by Cottage Garden. Like, hello. Look at that cardinal. Look at that house. I just love it. Now it's done on Dove by Weeks. And these threads are all Gentle Arts. And even though I've been getting threads for like 6 months now of Gentle Arts, I probably don't have any of these colors. I probably don't, but that's okay. Anyways, that's just gorgeous. I just love that house, that cardinal. I always find it so exciting when I see a cardinal. And it's even more exciting when you see the female cardinal, I find. Oh, and the last thing I got is, it's by Barely Work Creations, and it's a little hooked mat. Oh my God. Isn't it precious? I just love it. And Vera did a great job binding it on the back, finishing off nicely. So this is something that could lay on your table. It could be hung on the wall. A lot of things you could do with it. And it's just so pretty. I just love it. Nothing like a wonky pink house, eh? Anyway, so I know the person who made that. She lives in Amherst, and so that's really cool to have one of her mats. Very cool. And then I got this pencil case from my mother. And inside, I gave her a copy of the, I gave her a copy. I cannot believe the freaking... I gave her a copy of the list of threads for anaphoric because I'm planning on doing that this year. And so what she did was she went through her collection of DMC and she filled it up with the threads that she had. So I'm off to a good start there and collecting all those threads. So that'll be fun. So that was my Christmas haul that Santa brought me. And then, what else do I have? I do have some other haul I have to reach. So, I've been working on this, and I haven't worked on it this year yet, Birds of a Feather, the Sally Spencer. But I was running out of, it calls for Black Crow, but I've been using dark chocolate, and I was running out. So when I was at my LNS, I'm like, I need to get some more dark chocolate, but then they didn't have any that matched the one I had. So I got Classic Colorworks Blackbird, and it's a really nice chocolatey brown color. So that is some haul. This beautiful pattern that I did start. When did I start it? I can't remember when I started it, but I'm going to be starting it again this year because I had a mishap with the fabric. The fabric I didn't think was dark enough for some of the threads to pop, so I decided I would throw some coffee dye on it, and then I wetted it, and then a little bleeding happened. So I do like the color of it, but I guess I'll use it for ornaments. That is the risk you take with over-dyed threads. I went a little too crazy. In the beginning, I was good, and then I got a little wild, and then, yeah, things started to spread. So, what did I do with them? Oh. So I needed to get some more. I was concerned. Well, I needed a pumpkin color. That was for sure. And what did I get? The one, oh, sweet potato. The weak sweet potato for that. And then I got some cast iron skillet to try an over-dyed black floss to see how I like them for the dress. And then I got some soot because I think the crows, they need some soot. I might use some of that black, the new DMC, the glitter. I can't remember what it's called, but you know, it's got shiny sparkle in it now, and it's easier to use than some other stuff. So that is part of haul. And like I said, when I'm at my LNS, they have that little bin at the front. And if there's fabric in there that's a nice size, I usually buy it. This is another length piece that I got. I have no idea what color it is. It's a little darker than the one I showed you earlier. It is more gray than tealy, but it definitely is a picture of this plus. It's a 28 count. And that's a nice piece for ornaments or whatever. And then I came across this nice, I think this is like a charcoal gray. It looks black, but it's like charcoal gray. That's too dark. Maybe that. Anyways, it's a 32 count too. They don't have a lot of small count fabric, or is it large count? They don't have a lot of choice in 40 count. Let's put it that way. They've got like white and off-white. They do have a couple of other colors too, but they must have been like special orders or something because they're like weird colors. Like somebody must have wanted them special. Anywho, so that's cool. So, you know, those little remnant pieces are great for, like I said, ornaments or whatever. And then I picked this up. Heart Full of Gratitude, another one of these Cottage Gardens. Look at that Junko. Oh my God. And that pink house. Are they not? Yeah, don't look at the price. That's Canadian. Oh my But I was having, I think a lot of you know I'm a licensed practical nurse, and there has been quite a few residents have died recently, and so whenever that happens, I find it's like a time of, well, it can be sad, it can be a sense of relief, and it makes you reflect on things, and I always like to think that the residents teach us something. And so I have gratitude for that, and gratitude for knowing them. And some I know better than others. So it's not always easy, but I'm glad I'm there. And Wellington has found a perfect spot. Now I have some things that I bought a while ago, and they're kitted to go, and apparently there's a rule like you have to show things before you do anything with them, and I'm just so bad with all these rules. But one of the first times I went into the local LNS, I came across this by Jardine Prive. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, My Lady's Quaker, and I have a 28 count, picture this plus fog. So this is white with kind of gray bits to it. So I didn't want to do anything on stark white. You know. Anywho, it's a hard color to show on here, but it's fog, and this piece, I think it's going to be 14 by 14 because I'm doing it on a 28 count. 28 count. No, even smaller. 12 by 12. And I'm using this lovely Threadworks. Now, I was going to do the black in black, but now I'm thinking, do I want to do it in black, or do I want to do it in something different? Do I want to do the whole thing in this thread color? The decisions are going to kill me. Yeah. I just wish, like, you know, Brenda and Laura would just say, do this, and then I would be fine. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is another kit I bought. It's a Mirabilia. I will not be doing this anytime soon, that is for sure. But it was on sale through Traditional Stitches. It was 50% off. Coral Charms. So it was 50% off, so it was $8 Canadian. And they had the charms, not the charms, but the beads. They were 50% off too, so they were only $6. So I said, Julie, get the fabric. So I got the 32 count. I think it's a Calla Lily. It's Wilchelt fabric. Anyways, you know their fabric is very stiff. And then I have all the threads, all the pretty threads. They're really bright pinks, blues, greens, oranges. So I've shown it to you now. So if I get the urge, I can do it. But I don't think I'll be doing that one for a while. It's not on my immediate radar. Yes, Wellington. Exactly. Now, oh my. Now it's time to check my little, where am I at here? I've done so well. Haul. Okay, that was my forgotten haul. Haul, forgotten haul. Now my plans. Okay, I'm going to take a sip. Sorry, Lindy Stitches. It's just king cold tea today. Plans. Okay, so this weekend, if I didn't say already, today is January the 22nd, 2020. I'm bad about that. It's, now it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a pretty sunny day here, but it's been quite cold. And we're talking like minus 15 Celsius, even colder in the minus 20s. And I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit, but I think 32 for you is 0 for us. So if I'm saying minus 14, your numbers are getting small. So plan. So this weekend is the 24 hours of cross stitch. Hang on, technical difficulties. There, that's better. Yes, Wellington, I know. He's so excited. 24 hours of cross stitches this weekend. So we have that to look forward to. If you don't know what that is, I can't help you. Okay, like you seriously have to get out from under your rock. Jen Lee. I can't even think of the name of her friggin' podcast right now. Jen Lee. Jen Lee. Just do 24 hours of cross stitch on Facebook. You'll find it. Anyways, Jen Lee. Just Google her. You'll find it. Anyways, so that's this weekend, the 24 hours of cross stitch. So this is like an event that's every so often, and I think it might start around, maybe technically it starts at 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, but I think if you're somebody who works night shift, maybe if you start earlier in the day, it's not the end of the world. I think this is the first weekend in a while where I haven't worked, so I'm going to participate somehow. I may not do just cross stitch. I might do some knitting in there. But really, you make it your own. You work on what you want. Some people, they will only do new starts. Some people will take out that one project that's been languishing and they'll just focus on that for 24 hours. Some people will do 12 hours, take a break, do another 12 hours. So really, the world is your oyster. And then I told you about my pick it and stick to it. So that's my at the mat. I'm going to work on that in February again, every week. Commit 4, pledge. Pledge doesn't sound, it's like, pledge sounds like I have some wiggle room. I don't know why. 4 hours. And then dark stitching on the 31st. I know there are some who do dark stitching every 13th of the month. And I'm expanding a bit to include both the 7th of the month, because that's an interesting number, the 7th, like 13. Some people find that an unlucky or lucky number, the 13th. And then when there's a 31st of the month. So that gives me 3 days a month to work on some Halloween related stuff. And as you know, I just got one thing finished related to Halloween, and I do have some others. And my Brenda Gervais, my witchy witch, I got to get back to her, and I'll probably restart her on the 31st with some better fabric. If Canada Post can ever figure out where I live, I'm telling you, I ordered stuff. Here, get out your drinks. Okay, so back at the end of November, when there was all that Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Manic Monday, whatever they call it down there, there were some great sales, and I ordered some stuff. My stuff from Threads and Twine came, no problem. I always expect 2 to 3 weeks from the US, just because from experience. But there is stuff that I ordered at the very end of November that has still not found me yet. And some of the fault goes to US Postal Service. Sorry. And a good chunk of that, I think, goes to Canada Post. And maybe some of it's me too. Who knows? Maybe I didn't write my address properly. Well, I don't know. It's like, why do they find me other times of the year? But between December 1st, and now it's almost been 2 months. I ordered something from Rolanda, Rolanda hand-dyed stuff on Etsy. She lives right near Toronto. So you would think the stuff would get on a plane in Toronto and it would come right to the Maritimes and it would be here within a week to 7 days. Well, that is a week. Oh my God. Like I'm thinking 5 business days, 7 business days, whatever. It's still not here. And I think she's just as frustrated as I am because she said she's heard that from other people too that have ordered from her. Now, I just recently ordered something from Australia, the Silks for You. So I'm looking forward to seeing how long that actually takes to come to Canada. So yeah, the Postal Service lately has been really pissing me off. February the 1st, new start, maybe. The Sun Shower Shawl by Amba O'Brien. This is the other knitted project I wanted to talk about. Amba, and it is Amba, A-M-B-A-H. I'll put a picture of the shawl here. Amba O'Brien is an Australian knitwear designer. You can find her patterns all over Ravelry. Do a search, you're going to find her. As part of the fundraising that's been going on for Australia and the fires, she was donating the money raised from the purchase of this shawl to the wildfire cause. Am I saying that right? And it was raising funds to help with that emergency. And it is an emergency. It's like a planet emergency, guys. It's just not an Australia problem. It's a planet problem. So the Sun Shower Shawl, and that you can either make it with 12 mini skeins. If you remember Bendy, Michelle Bendy, she made a cowl during the month of December, and she belonged to this advent calendar, and she got these mini skeins, and every day she opened up one and she added to her cowl, and it was just wow. Well, you can do mini skeins, or you could use 2 fingering weight skeins of yarn. So this is a hot mess. I've got like a plastic bag full of this, but I ordered a set of mini skeins from Dragonhorn Yards in the U.S. She's in Utah. Once again, it took forever to come, but that's okay. And she had an Outlander mini skein set. Anyways, so I don't remember all the colors, but I know one was called like Sassenach, and one was called Red Jamie, and then one was called Lallybrook, and purple. That one's nice. I don't know. This one is really light. This one is gorgeous. That one might be Lallybrook. Anyways, all these little friggin', and then here's this is the one I'm starting with. It's purple, and that's another one. That one might be Red Jamie. I don't know. They didn't have their names written on each one. Then she also had a mystery sock set. And it had to do with Doctor Who, and it had to do with the David Tennant Doctor Who and Rose, and that last episode of them before, I guess, he regenerated and moved on. And we just knew it was from that episode. That was her inspiration for her colorway. And it was a sock set, so that meant you got a mini skein and a regular skein of yarn. And so here, this, you can see the Doctor Who right away. And then this one, it's kind of like mauvey, peachy, gray with some royal blue in there. Anyways, they're all going to go with this Outlander goodness to make a shawl. I'm just waiting on some needles because they call for 3.75. I have no idea what that is in American, but 3.75 milliliter. I always say milliliter, but I mean millimeter. And I like using the interchangeables. So I'm waiting for some chow goose to come. And that's going to be... Okay, I'm back. So that was supposed to be a nice segue into the whole Australia campaign that's going on right now that you've probably seen by a lot of designers out there, whether it's cross-stitch knitting or whatever in the making community. Designers are either creating charts special or they're selling a chart and they're donating the funds to what's happening in Australia. So a lot of people have been talking about this on YouTube. So I'm sure you know very well about it. It's important to get out there and try and do something. You know, a lot of these patterns, some of them are a couple of bucks, some of them might be more like 20 bucks, but there's something for everybody. And it's a great way to show your support for what's going on. I know we've got Canadian firefighters that have gone down to Australia to help out. So it's good to do what you can when you can. And so yeah, it's go check out all those patterns out there and see, get yourself one, because there's some really great, fantastic stuff out there. So in conclusion, darlings, I have some giveaways. I'm always hesitant to use that word, but they are, and I'm calling them pass-alongs. Pass-alongs. I'm going to call them pass-alongs. So I have a beautiful skein of yarn. This was gifted to me by Cindy Hagan of Celtic Raven Yarns. She is a hand dyer in Nova Scotia, and she's like, Julia, you can have this for a pass along on your podcast. And this color is called Forest Sage. It is fingering weight, so this is great for socks, for a shawl even, cowl. It is blue face Leicester, so it does have that woolly feel to it. So a lot of people like using this for socks. So this is great. It is 390 meters, and I believe that's about 425 yards. So, and the colors are just scrumptious. I just love this green. There's some limey green, some dark green. Just would make a beautiful pair of socks or whatever you want it to be. Anyways, that's Celtic Raven Fibre. She is based in Nova Scotia. I think she lives part of the year in actual near Shelburne, near Halifax, more or less near Halifax, and the other part of the year she lives up in Cape Breton. And they are two distinct places, so be careful how you talk about it. Cape Breton is an island, Nova Scotia is the mainland. And yes, it is one province, but they are different places. So yeah, Celtic Raven Fibre. So that is one. And you need to use the word. If you're interested in this, you have to use the word Celtic. You have to write something down below to me, and you have to use the word Celtic, because that's how I'm going to do a word search for Celtic. Now, I found a Jeannette Douglas pattern in my stash, and I have to look at it. One good earn deserves another. That's what I thought it said. People of the earth. Now with Jeannette Douglas, you get great specialty stitches, and she's got them all charted on the back. I don't think I'm giving anything away when I show them, but you know, there's road stars, ray stitch, herringbone stitch, satin stitches. So she gives you all the wonderful diagrams for them. I'll come a little closer. This is from 2004, so you might have seen it already. And you know how aesthetics and so forth, colors and everything's change. You could really prim this up nicely. And I don't know, you could do it on a country mocha, vintage country mocha linen, or oh my God, this phone is really being a pain in the tuchus today. A country, yeah, a country mocha vintage, or what else would it look good in? I like the idea of doing it with maybe even sand or something, or you could try it on that doubloon by Picture This Plus. You could really prim it up. I think you can make the colors a little brighter too if you wanted. But the key word for this is earn. You have to write something down below, earn. Okay, for the pass along. So I will announce the gagnants on the next podcast, and I will send them a message to let them know. It's my pleasure to do this, and it's a way of me saying thank you for your support, for watching my podcast, for supporting me, for commenting down below, for encouraging me with my projects. It really means so much to have your support, and to know, you know, like it's great being part of a community and having each other to lean on and learn from. And so that has made this all worthwhile for me. So don't forget, earn is a magic word and Celtic is a magic word. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. So thank you for watching the Stitcher Girl podcast. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye.